guys, and welcome back to the channel. Happy freaking Memorial Day. I want to say a special thank you to all that are currently serving in our armed forces, those who have previously served, and those that gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. It is very much appreciated. Thank you to all of those men and women out there. Yeah, look at that LB7 smoke, baby. Because it's freaking America Day, that's why. As promised, we are going to get our 27mm socket for the Warrior, but we're not going to work on the Warrior today, and I also have to grab something else while I'm in here. All right, got my 27mm socket. It is a 1/2-inch drive. Craftsman, got it at Lowe's. I always love Craftsman stuff, to be honest with you, so we did go with a Craftsman 27mm. Let's get the hell home. Now I know I've already done a video on things you should know before you buy a Jeep Wrangler, but honestly, that video was poo-poo. It was garbage. It was straight ass. So now that I've actually gone through and we've started building the Jeep, I've noticed some things that definitely stick out to me, things that have kind of affected me personally, and I want to share them with you guys. One very large thing that you should know when you buy a Jeep is that it's like an addiction. It's like tobacco, it's like drinking, it's like tattoos. You never feel like you have enough, truthfully. So like you do something to your Jeep and then all of a sudden you're like, I want more, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's crazy because one morning you can wake up with your Jeep like this, and the next you wake up like this. Second thing, now there is a lot that you can actually relate to owning and building a Jeep. It's like, honestly, it's like having a sports car or owning a diesel truck, anything along those lines, or having a really, really needy, expensive girlfriend. You know, honestly, it does add up over time. Things are not cheap. Unfortunately, you have to pay to play. So like when we got tires on the Jeep the other day, it was $700 and some just for 2 tires. Just for 2 tires for the Jeep. Now that was our choice. It was our choice to run 35s. It was our choice to run the General Grabber ATXs, and I don't regret that decision at all. But unfortunately, you do have to pay in order to keep up with the Joneses, basically. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the way that our Jeep looks, despite the fact of not having flares on right now, but my wife and I have even talked about it. There are so many little details that now that we're looking at, we're like, we need to put this on, or we need to get this, we need to do that. And I feel like it's going to be a never-ending cycle of like, we always want to add more. Personally, we are probably about $2,500 into the build of our Jeep since we have since got the tires. Now getting it lifted, having it on the wheels and stuff like that, we were under $2,000. But the price is going to continue to go up. Ultimately, we're going to get 2 more tires to replace the ones on the front. I would like to get a winch, honestly. So that's another couple $100 drop in and of itself. Granted, do we need a winch? No, but why would you not get a winch? Hashtag Jeep life. I never saw myself owning a Jeep or building a Jeep, but when my wife said that she wanted to get a Jeep last year, we did, and I was up for the challenge, and I don't regret it one bit. Third thing, the Jeep community is not like really any other community. It really isn't. The Jeep community itself is freaking awesome. Now, granted, there is a little bit of hate here and there. A lot of people have mixed emotions on the Gladiator grill, which I have on my Jeep. A lot of people hate it, a lot of people love it. So at the end of the day, it is a personal preference thing, but the community itself, look at the Jeep wave, you know what I mean? And a lot of people just kind of think, oh, like it's Jeeps waving to other Jeeps. The way I personally look at it is like, okay, I'm waving to this person who also has a Jeep because they made the same financial decision that I did to invest a crap ton of money into a vehicle that ultimately it's going to pay off in the end. I mean, truthfully, the Jeep, I feel like as it sits right now, looks like a completely different vehicle than what it did a week ago. So when you're waving to somebody, they're kind of like acknowledging the fact that like, hey, listen, man, I'm balls deep in commitment in owning a Jeep. My wife and I recently joined a JK forum on Facebook with like 70,000 or 80,000 people following it on Facebook. And honestly, I posted the before and after picture of our Jeep and what we accomplished in one day. And we did. We got a lot of love. Honestly, if you were to point out the amount of people that loved it in comparison to people that were like, about it, the only people that didn't like it were because of the grill. Everybody would have been like, oh, that's fantastic if we didn't have the grill. Well, that goes back to the whole personal preference thing. But everybody like welcomed us as new people to the Jeep community, lifted Jeep community. Everybody welcomed us with open doors. We're like, man, that looks fantastic. You guys did an awesome job. And honestly, that's awesome, because I've owned other vehicles where people are like, oh, well, that's stupid. Why'd you do that? Oh, it's still slow. It's ugly. You know, whatever. Everybody was like so positive about us building a Jeep. Just like any other vehicle build, make your vehicle exactly how you envision it, exactly what is going to make you happy at the end of the day, because it is your money that you're spending on it. You might as well make it what you want it to be, not what everybody else thinks it should be. Fourth thing you should know before you buy your Jeep: whether or not you want a hard top or a soft top. Now, myself personally, I love the fact of having the 3-piece hardtop. It is super easy and convenient to be able to take the top off. Now, granted, we do have little kids, so a soft top will come eventually in the future. But honestly, for right now, having the hardtop is so convenient because my wife and I, woo, that bump was nasty. Anyway, the hardtop is so convenient, especially being the 3-piece, because we can take the front 2 pieces off, get some air, kind of get that Jeep feeling from my wife and I up front, but then the kids are in the back, they're not getting too much air, that there's not an issue. And then if we want to, when we get older, we can just take the, the back top off, and everything's super simple. Just my personal preference, I like the look of the soft tops on the 2 doors, not necessarily as much the 4 doors. That, like I said, that's just a personal preference thing. I really enjoy kind of like the boxy look on the 4 doors. Having the hard top, I'm not necessarily a fan of the soft top unless you get like a certain type of soft top. And honestly, eventually, like I said, we will get one for our Jeep, but it's not going to be for a little bit, just because I really love the look of the hard top. Then again, it all does depend on where you are living, how often you can have the top off. With us being in Pennsylvania, honestly, like right now it's 74 degrees in the middle of May. It's not bad. Definitely you can take the top off weather, but then we also deal with some harsh winters where the hard top is just so much more convenient for those harsh weathers. Personally, I don't want to have to replace a soft top every couple years. Now, there is a lot of people that run both, and trust me, if you can afford to run both, I've looked on Facebook Marketplace, I can get a soft top for our Jeep for relatively cheap. So now, as we stand in my driveway with the Jeep right here, the final thing that you should know is buy a freaking manual. Just buy a manual. Now, our Jeep is the 3.8 liter, unfortunately, but it is the 6-speed manual. It's a personal preference thing all across the board, but personally, any type of vehicle, I feel like you need to buy a manual. It's more fun. In honor of Memorial Day, I have my flag mounted back in the truck so we can roll in style for the next couple days. Like I said, it's 100% preference, but in all honesty though, like any type of car, you have more fun in a manual Corvette in comparison to an automatic Corvette. You have more fun in a manual Jeep instead of an automatic Jeep. If this was your first time, this is a really loud ass motorcycle going down the road, but if this was your first time watching a video on my channel, I hope you give this video a big thumbs up. I hope you guys follow the build of my wife's, who's up there, Jeep. Honestly, it was an awesome $2,000 budget build so far. Now we're getting a little bit over as we start to add a little bit more details. But subscribe to the channel. We are almost at 3,000 subscribers. You guys have been freaking great and loving the build. So until next time, guys, see ya.